Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. So something to take note of recently, and it's something that I've come across in sort of like the walk in my own head as to the USTC repeg, and I think there's actually a bigger underlying issue with the repeg itself and how this could go. We need to look at this repeg like a big bucket of water with a lot of holes in it. We're trying to fill the bucket back up to the top, but it keeps emptying out all of the time, and every time we're going to attempt to make a repeg, it's going to just keep leaking because we haven't actually patched the holes. Now, what are the holes in the bucket currently? Well, we're paying a lot of USTC commission out of the Oracle rewards pool. So if you think about it, we're doing a step-by-step repeg and it's going to be going step by step. People are going to want to cash out on that. What is going to be such an easy way for people to cash out and profit? Not everybody's going to hold a bag all the way to $1. As much as you may think you will, you probably won't. The gains at certain points they'll take hold. It's one of those things, right? What's going to happen is if we begin to try to repeg on this incremental level, you're just going to be flooding the market with free USTC, as to which it's just going to be hammering any attempt that we get of a repeg. And I think this has been overlooked. The reason why I think this is being overlooked right now is because if the USTC team came out and said to you today, right, we're going to have to remove all of the USTC commission from the Oracle rewards pool and we're just going to have to finish that distro completely, people would lose it. They wouldn't be getting funding next round. And it's as simple as that. It all comes down to telling the community what they need to know when they need to know it. But I honestly believe this is something we're all going to need to understand sooner rather than later, because ultimately the Oracle rewards pool is very big. If we did remove USTC, for those that are panicking right now and crying and, you know, you've got your caps lock on, you could just balance it all back out with LUNC. Because we're doing a repeg, we all have to make sacrifices, as to which if we want this repeg to happen, we need to give it the best chance it possibly can, thus patching all of the holes in the bucket before we intend to fill that bucket back up to the top, restoring that peg. So what would you do with that USTC instead, right? Because you wouldn't be distributing it. Now, what we could do is create a validator on somewhere, for example, like Atom. This is in the Cosmos, very easy to access. We could also create a validator on Ethereum, as to which you cannot take all of that USTC out of the Oracle rewards pool unless you wrote a whole new system, contract and everything to do that. So the likelihood is you're going to have it distributed out as it currently was. So your best bet is to send that commission all to that validator, stake it, and then use the commission every month for buybacks. Nothing more, nothing less. So the reason why, like I was saying, this is so important is because ultimately this repeg, as much as the quant team are probably going to hate what I've just said, people who are way higher up than me have actually come to me and mentioned this, and it's like, well, this is actually quite funny because I've been thinking about this and I have mentioned this to certain people before and they didn't take well to it. It was a very intrusive thought that I had put forward. It put people into a very defensive stance as if I was questioning everything, and it was insane. Anyway, ultimately, if you understand how this repeg's going to work, you will know and you will understand that we will not be able to have a successful repeg if people are just able to constantly sell out their USTC. We cannot sit there and go to ourselves, well, we'll tell everybody to hold and that will be fine. No, we need to remove the leaks, okay? Because you're just going to be flooding the market with USTC. It's not going to work. Like I was saying, right, the Oracle rewards pool is big. You can do some test runs and you can run some test environments to see exactly how that would all look and how much LUNC would be paid out and how long it would take for it to deplete. And what people need to understand is this repeg is the key to everything. This is the key to getting funds back into our rewards pool, the community pool, everything. Gives us the ability to use LUNC as the mechanism that maintains the peg at $1. It's at that point, LUNC becomes an arbitrage unit where you're able to arbitrage between USTC and LUNC. And it becomes a self-serving mechanism is the best way I like to see these things, because you don't need to do anything. People are just sat there waiting for those arbitrage opportunities to come up to either bring the peg up to $1 or bring it back down to $1. I think the reason why they haven't mentioned this is because simply it's a very, very big ask of this community, because ultimately everybody, even with you getting LUNC to recompensate what you lose in USTC, people are still going to be angry. They're going to be angry that they're not going to be able to get this USTC coin in their airdrops anymore. They're going to feel like they've been robbed of the opportunity. But like I was saying, everybody needs to make sacrifices in this blockchain. And I think as a community, we have a responsibility to commit to something that has been passed via governance. Whether you voted no or you voted yes, it passed governance. That means we must all respect the process. Ultimately, whether they're going through this themselves, if they've put it forward in certain other places, this does need to be addressed and it does need to be looked into. And I think the sooner we get the community to understand why we would need to remove the USTC commission as a whole and utilize it to commence buybacks, it's not going to be easy, but the sooner you hear about something like this, the sooner you can come to terms of it actually happening. And I hope by putting a video out like this, people can understand. Maybe this is why certain people are so uppity at the moment and very defensive with things, because there's so many ins and outs to this. What I've seen recently is shots being fired back and forth between a few people about one group of people wanting to take USTC in what they're calling defunct wallets, and burning it, whereas the quant team probably they want it to burn, whereas the other group want to use it for liquidity, and then there's another group who wants to burn it. It's just forget about these defunct wallets, forget about all of these other wallets where people have not been using them, because we don't have the right to intrude into other people's. We don't have the right to tell people you have to hand over your funds because you're not using them no more. Yeah, no. I think this is a really interesting point. The reason why I've done this video is because somebody higher than me in the validators active set has mentioned this to me. I'm not going to mention who it is. They have mentioned this to me. I've mentioned this to someone before who's involved with the USTC situation currently, and now getting to this point of having someone way higher than me say, you know, dude, it's going to be really hard to do this incremental repeg if we don't stop the USTC inflow into the market. It's all food for thought. And I think what people also need to understand is that USTC would then be used, it would be utilized, and we'd have a validator on another chain being utilized for buybacks. And once all the buybacks are done, dusted and everything, you've got a load of liquidity sat there on whatever network you decided to go through. And we can use that to possibly pay our future teams, pay our future marketing team, our future L1 or L2 team. It all becomes a self-serving system when you follow these more intricate step-by-step routes where we sacrifice a little to gain a lot in the long run. And it's all about looking at 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line. It's no good looking at tomorrow and being upset because things are not happening tomorrow when you want it to happen. It's all of these things right now where we need to understand. We've been in this for over a year, and we've had people that, oh, you know, well, this will get it done quicker, or, oh, we'll take this shortcut because we'll get there quicker, or, oh, let's do this as a community because we can't be bothered to wait another 2 months. Well, we've been waiting over a year now, and it's just like, if we actually start to do these real intricate routes, we start to pay attention, we look at the ins, we look at the outs, we cross the T's, we cross everything before we attempt to do this repeg. Because if we, for example, attempt the repeg and we're just flooding the market with USTC, what's going to happen? Well, it's just going to dump the price consistently all of the time. Every time it goes up a little bit, oh, profit, I'll sell all of that. And then what they're going to do, you have people that are literally going to play it. So they'll just buy a load, or they'll have a load to begin with, they'll sell it, they'll buy it back, sell it, buy it back, sell it, buy it back. We need a proper strategy plan moving forwards. They've got so much in these weekly updates, but I've not seen one thing about the whole situation surrounding the vast amount of USTC that floods the market on a daily basis. Let me know what you think's. I can't even talk. Let me know what you think's. I'm done. None of this is financial advice. Beware of scammers. Beware of doppelgangers. Beware of anybody who pretends to be me. And I'll catch you in the next one.